Thank you for tuning in to the Helium Radio Network. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. When you feel better, you feel more like you. And when you move better, there's so much you can do. Be who you were meant to be. Peaceful Warriors Wellness. Feel better, move better, be better. Peaceful Warriors.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. Roberts.
And I'm Lena Roberts.
We're joined with Roma, our assistant, as well, as always, our trusty assistant. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. The first thing that we need to do, though, is we need to go into our self-care check-in. It's going to be a normal, every podcast type thing. And we're going to go over the 5 things, the 5 areas that we think everybody should be working on as often as possible, daily if possible, to improve their health and wellness and quality of life. So what's the first thing that we like to talk about, Lena?
Water.
Water.
Water is something that I love to hate. I love to be around water. I love to be in water. I love things that water is in. But I'm not thrilled with drinking water.
It can be challenging, but what I have found, and I am a long time Mountain Dew addict, where I was drinking probably over a gallon of soda a day, probably closer to 2 gallons of soda a day. And I switched to water, and now I crave water. So it really just depends on what you get used to, and your body will desire the healthy things that you can put into it. It'll also really desire the unhealthy things you put into it. But there is no substitute for water. So people go, well, coffee is 99% water. Yes, it is. It's also loaded with caffeine, which is a dehydrator. Same thing with tea. So you have to be really careful with a lot of these drinks that everybody thinks is water, but it's not water. So what's the second thing on our list that we'd like to talk about?
Exercise. Movement.
So the body was designed to be in movement. It was never designed to be sedentary. We spend hours, oftentimes 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day sitting, driving, sitting at a desk. And it really wasn't designed to be anywhere near that sedentary. So it's recommended that you get at least 20 minutes of consistent movement every day. So even if you take part of your lunch hour or first thing in the morning and get a brisk walk in to start your day off, it's really going to help change your metabolism and get that blood pumping through the body, and it's just really good for your health. What's the third thing on our list?
Quality nutrition.
Quality nutrition. So why in the world is it so inexpensive to buy processed food and yet so much more expensive to buy quality whole food?
I don't understand, but it is a lot more expensive and a lot more time consuming to eat better, quote.
So we've really been kind of baited into the convenience and luxury
Oh, yes.
of being able to grab a box, pour it into
yes.
a pan, or out of a can and pour it into a pan, and within 20 minutes have a full meal in front of our families and our kids, right? Unfortunately, they're loaded with preservatives, they're loaded with salts and sugars and all these other very addictive things that they put in there.
I know. They're so yummy, though.
And I'll be the first to admit, there's nothing like having a good little piece of pizza loaded up with your favorite ingredients, or heck, even a can of Chef Boyardee or something,
Or a Hostess cupcake.
Hostess cupcake. Well, there you go. See, now you're going to start making
Okay, so
everybody
now
hungry.
we're talking about
All these other things. Our purpose is really to get you a little bit more motivated to putting, 7 to 13 servings of fruits, vegetables, and berries in your belly every day is what
every day.
recommend. And a serving size is the size of your fist. The fourth thing that we like to talk about is
And sleep.
good quality rest and sleep. So what are some of the pitfalls that people experience with getting a good night's rest and sleep?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
What are some of the pitfalls that we have in getting good quality rest and sleep? What are some of the things that we're doing that interfere with our ability to get a good night's sleep?
We live life, and I mean, a lot of times it's just life and our commitments and the things that we feel responsible for, and we don't have. We're trying to do so much during the day that we don't have time for sleep.
So could we sum it up with distractions?
Distractions.
I have a second thing though. I would like to add to this a
Please,
little bit.
go ahead.
So as I've worked in the restaurant industry forever. I mean, this is not the only industry that you work 10, 12, 15 hours a day, but there is a by the time I get home, like there's so many things that need to be done. There's so many things that I haven't had the opportunity that I want to do, whether it's I want to decompress with some video games, I want to catch up on maybe an episode of a TV show, or I really just don't want to go to sleep because I didn't have the time to do what I wanted to do that day. There's a Japanese word for this, but I can't speak Japanese, so I can't say it, but it's known as revenge bedtime procrastination. And I am very guilty of it. Very, very guilty.
Bedtime procrastination.
So it's taking revenge on the day because you don't have control over that time. So
Yes.
you take it back at night, but you suffer the consequences, obviously, in the morning.
Gotcha.
So one of the things I'd like to point out is that each and every person will need 24 hours each day to manage and to schedule. And so it is very important to establish some of those boundaries for yourself and to be able to give yourself the time that you need for those activities in your schedule and be respectful of that. And it can be difficult, especially with all the demands that we have sometimes or that we put on ourselves with the work requirements and things of that nature. But it is really important to manage your time well so that you get that 7 to 8, some people may need 9,
Me, I
hours of
need more
sleep.
like close to 10. I really thrive
Allow
on
yourself
sleep.
to get into that REM sleep and to give your body the chance to replenish. And then the fifth thing that we like to talk about in our self-care check-in is massage, chiropractic, meditation, yoga, these types of things that would be able to assist in your self-care and to make all the other 4 things more efficient and more effective. Does that pretty much complete our self-care check-in?
Yes. What
So-
have you done this week? We know what you have done, Scott. You have drank the water. You have exercised. You've ate right. Except for this weekend, we did kind of a little bit bad, but not really bad. I mean, it
No,
really was
I
not
stayed
that
pretty
bad.
good, actually.
We kind of ate out, but we ate smart out.
Right. I did have a little bit of biscuits and gravy, so that was my one guilty pleasure this week.
Man,
But
it was really good too.
it was. But so more importantly, just as a self-assessment, for everybody out there listening, check in with yourself and not to beat yourself up. And certainly when I talk about the things that I'm doing, I'm not trying to brag or boast either. I'm really hoping, more importantly, to inspire. So that journey that I'm on and that others can join in at any time. You don't have to wait till the 1st of next year, by the way. If you've already given up on your resolutions, it's the 1st of February. But more importantly, it's the first day of the rest of your life, so you can start and restart anytime you want
Anytime you want.
So it's really important to be able to give yourself the freedom to do that, check in and go, hey, okay, is this going to get me where I want to go? And then, of course, your diet also includes what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, and who you surround yourself with. So do a little check-in with that too. And am I doing enough reading? Am I listening to the right things? Am I watching the right things? Am I spending time around positive people, or am I spending time around negativity? And, let's make some changes in those areas as needed.
Yes.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit more about reflexology, and
My
we're going to
favorite
focus
thing.
on today. I'm very, very privileged to be able to be in business with Lena, to be married to Lena, and to be able to spend so much of my time each and every day with the person that I love. In life, she's my partner in all things, and it's really nice to be able to say that. Lena is a very gifted therapist in many regards, very
Thank
different
you.
than I am, but in a very good, positive way. And different people need different things at different times.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk a little bit about Lena and what got her interested in reflexology, a little bit about where she decided to go to school. And so let's just go ahead and start off with introducing yourself a little bit, Lena. Who are you? What's your background? A little bit.
Well, my name is Lena Roberts. I am married to Scott Roberts. I have worked most of my adult life. Well, I can't even say that now. A lot of the beginning of my adult life in critical care mostly. And then I came to massage therapy and loved massage therapy and really did not have any interest in working on people's feet to begin with. I really felt like that people's feet were dirty and I did not want to touch them. I really did.
You were a mom too, weren't you?
And I was a mom. Oh yes, I have two wonderful children, Nikki and Shane, and a grandson named Seth.
And you helped raise two others, so you actually were a mom of four for many years.
Raised 4 kids
while you're doing critical care.
While I was in the hospital, yes. And it was very stressful. And that sleep thing, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I need 9 to 10 hours of sleep now, because I did not get any sleep in my 20s and 30s. I mean, it was literally, I ran on about 4 hours of sleep a day, every day, and thought that I was great. I was doing it. But now it's like, yeah, you're going to take that sleep one way or another. Your body's going to take it.
So what about, you said you've gotten into massage therapy and you've been a massage therapist now for over 9 years.
Yes.
And you've included quite a few things in that journey. What are some of your favorite things and aspects of what you've included?
You mean about the different modalities that I do? Well, I do a lot of the hot stones, specifically the Himalayan salt stones. Just about everybody that comes into my room is going to get some Himalayan salt stones put on them somehow or another. I've also do the Medi cupping, which takes the cupping, the Chinese medicine cupping, and uses it with a machine that I can have a lot more control and variations with the machine. It can pulse. It can do like a slow pulse, where it's slowly sucking up and slowly releasing, or it can do really fast where it's really moving the tissue. Or it can be stagnant, where it'll just stay. It's a stationary cup. You can do a lot of different ones with the machine. I like the movement of the machine because a lot of times I can keep it there for longer with it pulsing and it not leave the marks. So you can get all the benefits of cupping, but not have the marks that I personally don't like the marks, but I like the effects of cupping. I also do a lot of aromatherapy. I really think that you can affect people's moods and by aromatherapy, just by the way that they have feelings and emotions attached to smells. And if someone comes in and they're really, really agitated, you can throw some of the lavender or vetiver or the whatever that will work for them at that time and really calm them down. On the same note, whenever I have completely knocked someone into la la land and they are really dazed and really sleepy coming up out of the massage, give them a little bit of the citrus, some orange or peppermint or whatever, and it perks them right up. And I don't feel like that they're going to drive out of here and not be safe going home. So I use a lot of aromatherapy.
So how did you add in reflexology?
Well, like I said to begin with, I didn't like feet. And then I met this, and I say this completely lovingly because I swear he looked about 12 years old when I met him the first time. I met this little guy named Sam Bellier at the Florida State Massage Therapy Association convention. And he was doing reflexology. And I asked him, I was like, feet does interest me a little bit, but I'm not touching somebody's dirty feet. And he was like, well, I don't either. I wash them. And I was like, oh, why hadn't I thought about that before? So I started washing people's feet. I have the hot towels, and, if they're really gunky, because, we live in Florida, so people walk around in flip-flops all the time. So sometimes their feet is not as pristine as I would like them. And so I have incorporated that into my treatment. So then I started following Sam through the years and through the years. And I felt like that a lot of times that we were on the same path. He's several steps ahead of me on this path. And I really like following his footsteps because he's kind of blazing the trail for me. Fast forward, 7-8 years, and he has it's the Foot Whisperer Institute in Tampa, Florida. He's been there for 7 years, I think it is. I'm not sure. Long time. And I started with him in January of 2019. Oh my gosh, it's been 2 years now.
2018. Or no, it's 2019.
19, because I finished in 2020.
Yep.
And it really, what I love about Sam is that reflexology is not black and white. It's not push button fix problem. It is incorporating what you know as a person, as a massage therapist, as whatever that you are bringing to the table that day. You use that to connect and help with that client.
It sounds great. We do need to take a quick little break. And when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the distinctions and differences in some of the approaches that people have with the reflexology.
Yes.
And how that helps guide you in your journey and how it might be a little bit different. Okay, so let's take a quick break. And we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Eric Rimmel here, producer of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast, and I'm here today to tell you about the amazing folks at Peaceful Warriors Wellness Center. Not only am I a producer of the show, but I'm also a client. Their staff of therapists are truly the best at what they do. Now is your chance to check them out for yourself. Go to their website, peacefulwarriorswellness.com, and click Book Now, or give them a call at 727-822-8866. Use the promo code RADIO and get $15 off your first visit. Yes, you heard me right. $15 off your first visit. Now, this is just for a limited time, and make sure to tell them that you heard about it on heliumradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. This is Scott Roberts.
And I'm Lena Roberts.
And I'm Roma.
Roma.
Assistant Extraordinaire.
That's it. It's extraordinary. That's what I'm going to get on your name tag now.
Yeah. I'm going to have to order a new one. Yay.
All right. So in the first segment, we kind of introduced a little bit about Lena and who she is, and started talking a little bit about reflexology. Now, I know that a lot of people have seen the different maps that exist on reflexologist's wall, right? And it says, heart here, stomach there, kidney over here.
Yes.
And you mentioned something a few minutes ago about push button fix problem.
Yes.
So you're telling me that some people approach it that way, but for you, it's not that quite that approach where if I push the button for heart, I can't either manipulate and give someone a heart attack or prevent a heart attack by pushing on
do it. No, you can't do it. I've tried it.
Okay. So, I think and please, no way, shape, or form am I talking negatively about anybody or any because it's all amazing.
Because there are hundreds and maybe even thousands of people out there that really do a great job with push button fix problem. That's the way that they work, and that's their philosophy, and that's working for them. So
you're a little bit more, should I use the word ethereal and intuitive in your thought process and approach. And I think that's one of the things that with Sam kind of attracted you to go into school there and learning from him, his approach. So I've heard you use a word, reading.
Reading, yes.
And hands.
Feet,
and
hands,
face, and ears. So it's not just, right?
No. Reflexology is the, let's see, I'm going to use Sam's words here. Reflexology is the art and science of applying thumb and finger pressure to points on the feet or hands or face or ears, which produce referral sensations that in turn help to relax and balance the body systems. Okay, that's the reflexology definition that I work with. But reading is the art and science of identifying visual, textural, and walking patterns or markers that relate to a person's current and past levels of physical, mental, and emotional tension. Okay, that's a lot of things to take in when it comes into reading. But we all read people every single day. We read situations. We read it. We take everything that has happened to us in the past and what we've read and what we've watched TV, and we have learned from that, and we take that to actually apply it. And that's what Sam has taught me to do, was to take all this stuff that I quote know and apply it to that situation right then. So when a person walks in, one of the ways that I do the reading is that I watch them when they walk through the door. Are they limping? Do they have a short stride or a long stride? I'm watching their feet. Are they walking on their heels? Are they like stomping? Or are they more like up on their tiptoes, kind of bouncy? You take all that into consideration before you even get them on their table. You have a reading of them. And then when it comes down to reading of the quote feet, yes, looking at the feet is a huge part of it, because you look at the feet tell the story of your life. The feet don't necessarily tell the story of the day.
So I heard you mention another key word, which was system. And there are many different systems in the body.
Yes.
But your approach is also on a much broader systemic, and then becomes, through the reading and the assessment that you're doing,
right,
more targeted and specific. So I've also heard you mention something along the lines of different zones and patterns,
yes,
as opposed to just specific spots for different organs.
Right.
Tell us just briefly a little bit, without going too long, about different zones. And I think there's zones that go up and down and zones that go left and right.
Yes, we have horizontal zones and vertical zones, and there's 5 zones each. The first zone is your head and neck. Each zone represents a part of the body and what is it? My mind went completely blank, but it's emotional aspects. Like the zone 1 is your going horizontally is your head and neck, and it is your thoughts and opinions. Zone 2 is your kind of your chest and shoulders. That is your heart, lungs, emotions,
Breathing.
yes. Zone 3 is your upper digestive, which is your diaphragm, your liver, your stomach, your pancreas, gallbladder. Zone 4 is your lower intestines. Your lower intestines also include your hips, your low back, your SI joint. All that is in there, the lower. And the fifth one is your reproductive, but also
Legs.
legs,
ability.
feet. Yes, all that is in there. And that is your sense of security moving forward.
There you go.
Okay. These zones, talking about them, I can talk about them all day with my hands, but when I try to put them into words, it's really hard for me.
Okay, we'll go on to something else.
Okay. So with my approach to it is usually whenever someone comes in to my office that is looking for reflexology, yes, they are going to get reflexology, but I'm also going to use everything I talked about before that I bring to reflexology, which is the cupping. The cupping is awesome on the bottom of your feet and also with your hands, but I'm going to stick with the feet talking about it today. The cups, whenever people have like plantar fasciitis, the cups are amazing to bring circulation back to that area because that plantar muscle is probably locked down solid and it's supposed to be very pliable. The cupping brings relaxation to the plantar muscle.
All right. Well, all that sounds very interesting. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that are asking the question, how in the heck do I get myself scheduled for a reflexology appointment with Lena? So how would they do that?
Well, you could go to our website. You can give us a call. You can stop by here because Roma's most of the time here now. So you can, there's a lot of different ways to make an appointment. My schedule is pretty full. I'm really booked up for several weeks out. But Catherine White also does reflexology, and she studied with Sam last year also. So we have a lot of different options here, and a lot of people are like, well, I don't really want to do a whole reflexology session. I do a reflexology massage combined session that is really good because it can help you figure out more of what's going on with yourself.
So what is our website?
www.peacefulwarriorswellness.com.
And our phone number?
727-822-8866.
And where are we located?
We are at 19 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Street South in downtown St. Petersburg.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for this edition of the Feel Better, Move Better, Be Better podcast. Again, I'm Scott Roberts.
And I'm Lena Roberts.
And I'm Roma.
Hosts and hostesses, we really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to what we have to say. I hope it's helpful and beneficial, and be well.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Helium Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and should not be construed in any way as advice from Helium Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by producers, writers, and editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the express written consent of Helium Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.